Okay, awesome. Well, welcome everybody, and thank you for joining me. Um, Heather, I'm so happy to have you as a guest. Like, how did I get so lucky? Yay.
Yay. Well, I always enjoy talking with you in classes, so it's fun to have a conversation everyone gets to peek in on.
Yes, that's like the whole idea behind Coffee Talk is like, the conversations that we have with other facilitators and people who are choosing to be more conscious in the world, whether or not you're in access. It just always expands possibilities. And, I thought other people might want to listen in on that. So here we
Yeah,
are.
yeah, because I've gone out to lunch with you so many times at places like the advanced body class or Symphony of Possibilities, and it's just expanding the energy of what we talked about in class through the conversation. I remember you and I once talked at lunch about the book The Place from Gary
Mm,
Douglas and what that created in your life, from reading that and being that in the world. And it was so
mm.
beautiful.
Wow. Very cool. I'm not sure I remember that particular conversation, but yeah, I love that book. It's so nurturing. And we were
Mhm.
going to talk about nurturing today, and there's so many facets to it. Did you have a place that you wanted to start?
Well, the place is the place to start, I would say. I mean, really, that what what we're being invited to with that book, with the communion with bodies and earth, and the joy and the happiness that's possible
Mm,
that creates.
mhm. It's so true, and it's so non-linear. Like
Mhm.
when you read that book, if you're reading it from a scholastic point of view, you're like the sentences are too long. Um, like what? But it like draws you out. It draws your being out to experience this other possibility that you can be living right alongside everybody else who's inside the lines and doing everything correctly. So, yeah.
Well, what I love about it too is it presents this infinite possibilities with bodies and rejuvenation and healing. And, before we went live, you and I were talking about just how nurturing and really honoring the Access Energetic Facelift is. I mean, it really, for me, I'm not even sure where I'd be without that energy in
Mhm,
my life.
mhm. It's so true, and it's one thing to run the process and run it on somebody else, which is awesome and amazing, but I run it pretty much every single night on myself,
Oh, wow.
every night, and sometimes in the morning. Like, it's just something that it feels so good. If your body is ever in any state of pain, contraction. The other day, I was walking around my desk into the bathroom here, and there's a point, and I like hip chucked it and got a little bruise. And so I just, as I fall asleep, I have my hand there and I run facelift because there's so many energies in there to undo where your cells lock up and create the disruption.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and there's more energies being added all the time. Like, that's what's so cool is it's even greater than it was
Mhm,
years ago.
mhm,
And it really is expanding all the time. And
mhm,
and I did the same thing. I cut my hand the other day, and the first energy I started running was the facelift,
mhm.
and it's miraculous.
It really is. Yeah. And it's interesting because, like years and years ago, the body processes were just like they were just given out in some of the advanced classes, and they're like, go practice them. And nobody was doing it. Well, very few people were. I was. And facelift was one of them. And I was like, ooh. I want to play with that. And I did many series on different people, and like their whole lives changed.
Yeah.
People in their 60s and 70s, their whole lives changed. They started becoming generative again instead of, the downward spiral. Um, and and then when they started creating them as individual classes, I always charged more because you could set the price back then.
Mhm.
And now that it's a set class and it's a full day workshop, and a set price, I feel like it's finally, valuing itself for what it is.
Truly. And it's still a bargain from my point of view. I mean, really, you like there's 4 sessions in one day.
Yeah.
And the transformations with it are really, really incredible. Just to be able to bask in that really beautiful energy all day and
Yeah.
receive.
And like anybody off the street who's never done anything can
Mhm.
step into it and start recognizing that they can ignite these energies within themselves
Yeah.
and use it with other people.
Yeah.
What a gift that is.
Yeah. And I've noticed too, as someone who does sessions of facelift a lot, that how rejuvenated I am. It it's a very similar energy to me of like walking in the woods,
Mhm.
or you know, just being with someone who doesn't judge you, that kind of really kind, nurturing energy. And it just, like you said, it changes other areas of your life to either gift it or receive it.
Mhm. So true. So I'm surprised that I don't have sold out workshops all the time. Maybe I'm just not being in the right place.
Well, I
It's
really wonder what it would take for every body who is looking for that nurturance to be able to find it.
mm, so true. I mean, how is it for you, like finding a place to get a massage that's actually nurturing?
Well, I mean, I always ask my body, and usually it's not a yes, because
That's the thing. That's the thing. And like somebody's on autopilot, or they're not actually listening to your body. They're like forcing. And it's so different to actually step into the awareness that you can have, or where a person's at right now and what their body requires, and gift that.
yeah. Well, I mean, and that's the art of gifting a facelift, is really like following that energy of where is the body asking for this, what's next, what, and you have to be really present with your own body in order to do that. And that is something that you cultivate as you
Mm.
you know do these sessions, which is really cool.
Do you
It
teach the facelift class?
I do, yeah.
You
It's
know,
fresh on my mind.
yeah, it's changed a lot over the years. Like at one point, they had like 3 pages of clearings, and I remember thinking, "Oh my God, like it's too much. It's too heady. Nobody can even listen to that stuff." And then they
Mhm.
took it out. But there's something else that they added in that I find like, what is this for? That the cheat sheet plastic card,
Uh-huh.
like bars. It's making people, not pay attention to the body, like looking at the
Mhm.
card and trying to figure out what they're supposed to do instead of being present.
Yeah, yeah.
So a
It
lot
really
of times I throw out the card. And
well,
they're bad.
well, I- it is such a great question to ask the body, like
Mhm.
for our own bodies and for whoever we're touching or around, like what is required, where what is this body asking for and desiring to receive. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just allowing the space. It's so nice.
Well, I notice even just talking about it with you right now, like that energy is kind of turning on, like the facelift energy. It's so fun.
It is. It is. What other ways do you like to nurture or find nurturing?
For me, it's the trees. It's always walking in the woods and,
Mm.
when things just seem really crunchy or I can't get my bars run, I go to the woods for that sense of peace and space.
Where do you live?
I live outside Washington, D.C. And
Okay. I lived in Maryland for a short while when I was growing up.
uh-huh.
So
Where?
where?
Yeah.
Baltimore.
Oh, okay. I'm in Gaithersburg and there's a big state park here.
Mm,
Uh, and that's really the draw for me of
mm.
here. And um it's been really fun since I've been running these political clearings every day with Pam Hodling.
From the epicenter.
We created this Facebook group to run these clearings 100 times a day. It was a it was a clearing that Gary Douglas gave on his call helping the election of the president. And we noticed that when we got together and ran this clearing that it was really greater than, either of us running it by ourselves. And we're so grateful that other people are choosing to join us to run this because I notice this sense of peace in my body after we run these clearings. Like there are some days when it is just like like really something's going on, and then we'll run the clearings 100 times and it's just like
Yep.
something changed.
Yeah. I am part of that Facebook group.
Yay. Thank you.
I
Thank
don't
you for
listen
being
all
there.
the time, but I know my energy is there.
Yes, yes. And it is a huge contribution when other facilitators join that group. And I mean, even just being there, it's a contribution, even if you just come on for one of the clearings that we run 100 times a day to just be there. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it would be really cool if more facilitators would cross-pollinate, so to speak.
Mhm.
And um, back in the day, probably 10, 15 years ago, I would invite other facilitators to come to my foundation classes,
Cool.
as a guest, just, to contribute their energy and to see how maybe I do it different.
Mm.
And and I thought that that would be a great thing for each one of us to just go to each other's classes and learn different ways of being with the material because everybody's got a different way of using the tools. Um, and it's such a contribution to have another facilitator there.
Yeah. I mean, even just having someone in a foundation class who's taken an advanced class is such a gift. I mean, it just really
Yeah,
helps move the energy.
yeah, yeah. And we have so many prerequisites. Um, it's nice to just gift it, you know?
Yeah.
So that's my point of view anyway. Yeah. I love going into the redwoods here in California, and that's one of the things that's kept me here for so long is, oh my God, just I love those trees.
Yeah.
And I've looked at moving other places and like they don't have them. Can I do it? Can I take the leap?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, one of my favorite questions that I've been asking lately is, Earth, where do you require me?
Yeah.
And I was actually asking that this morning because it's been for years. It's been like, would I really like to be living here in the DC area? And I really got today that I really am going to stay here until next year. Like,
Mm.
Earth, where do you require me? Here.
Mhm.
So I'm really grateful for the trees and for the nature that's here because that is that nurturance that really sort of outcreates whatever else is going on here that may be less nurturing.
Yes, yes. And some of us like go right into the cauldron, so to speak, to be a different energy and to create some change. So good on you.
I do miss Northern California though. I lived there for 5 years and
Really?
really, yeah, I lived in the city in the marina and then I moved to South San Francisco for a while. I worked at San
Mm.
Francisco State. I
Wow.
loved it. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That was before I moved here.
Got it. Yeah, I've lived out here for like 30 something years. But I started back east and I just always wanted to live in California when I was a kid, so I made it happen. And I've been asking like where next? Where next? And
Yeah.
it's so beautiful here and there's like so much variety. There's the ocean, there's the bay, there's the mountains, there's the desert,
Wine
there's
country, there's
yes, it's the wine country. There's the international airport that makes it, really
yes.
easy to get anywhere. Like that's the other thing. I don't want to live so remotely that it's hard to travel because I love to travel.
Hmm.
And in this area, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of interest in expanding possibilities, which is just beyond me. I'm like, really? Or, maybe they're choosing it in their own way, but it feels very stagnant.
Hmm.
And so is that a place to continue, creating a different energy, or does it mean go somewhere else?
Yeah. And I mean, I wonder, like, where is our energy required on the planet? Like, where could we create more than we could imagine possible? And
Yeah.
and it I get for me, it may not be where I call home all the time, although
Mhm.
sometimes it could be. Um, and yeah, like where else? What else?
Yeah. And, we're willing to be invited anywhere.
Yeah.
So anybody listening to this in the future, um, you can invite us. Invite us and we'll come. We'll come and play there.
Yeah. Uh,
What have you been up to creating lately?
Well, I am excited that I will be in your area in April, facilitating Right Voice for You in the Napa Valley, which
Really?
is a favorite place of mine. Yes, April 12th through the 14th. So that class is really cool and it's open to anybody, whether you've taken any access consciousness classes or not, because it's really about having and being your voice in the world, whatever that is for you,
Yeah, it's a
and
great
engaging.
class.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. I feel like I've taken it a few times, but I took it with Chris probably, what was it, 2019? So it was right before the world changed. And it really changed everything, like my YouTube channel, like everything.
Hmm.
It was super cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, when you come in, we should, connect
Yes,
for
I
sure.
agree. Yeah.
You have to go right by me to get to Napa. I'm going to be going to Sedona the next weekend to facilitate Talk to the Entities.
Oh, awesome.
So I'm super excited about that.
What a place to facilitate it too.
Right?
Wow.
it just makes me sick.
Yeah, I just got chills. I'm like, wow, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And that class facilitates so much change to the land and the whole area, the whole like region, wherever it is. Um, it's really, really amazing. I've seen people change really dynamically from taking that class because you get to find out who you are.
It's so true. It's so not what people expect.
Yes.
And it's a great way to build awareness because you cannot put it into this reality. You can't think or
Yeah.
feel or emote about it. You really have to perceive, know, receive, and be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, anybody listening, don't do any of these things if you don't want your life to expand or have fun
And have fun. Exactly. Exactly.
and be
Well,
nurtured.
exactly. Well, for you, what's been nurturing for you lately? What's bringing more laughter and more joy to your life these days?
You know, it's so funny. It's like relaxing into not being super busy and like
Mm,
having to squeeze everything in, just having this space that that has taken me a while. That whole relaxing, everybody's talking about it now
yes.
too. But even deeper, and knowing that in relaxation you can create usually a lot faster and easier.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
it's like slowing down and speeding up at the same
No.
time.
Yeah. Thanks for inviting that energy. It's so easy to push things and to buy the idea that so many people have that it's the push that's going to create, but it's actually the lowering those walls and barriers and
Mhm.
just uh,
Yeah. My daughter just came back from traveling in Hawaii and she brought me this
ooh,
t-shirt and it says it's like slow down or slow yourself down. That's what it says. And on their little tag, it says really slow down, take your shoes off, put your feet in the soil and feel
mm,
the energy. It is real. I just loved that. And she was like,
wow,
look at the tag, mom.
wow,
Yeah. And it is. And, what if you could just be hanging out and not have the TV or music or something, podcast going all the time? And I do that. I'll sit at my desk making jewelry with nothing. No, it's just quiet and peaceful. And I love that. But I know for some people, they need this stimulation all the time. So, what are they avoiding? What are we all avoiding?
yeah. Well, we've been talking about that a lot in Right Voice because it's really these days about engaging with everything, engaging, when you're creating your jewelry about what would like to be created and who it would like to be created for and all the different elements that go into that creation. The other week I went out and I had forgot my phone. So I was just out at this bar and I was like, wow, what can I and who can I engage with here? And it was so interesting because I met so many people that night because I wasn't lost in my phone.
Mhm.
I was just really being there and asking questions and uh different people, talking to different people and being present with them. And whenever we do that, we change the people around us just by showing up and engaging with them. And I find I discover so much about people and about living by doing that.
Mhm. Awesome. Very cool. Well, maybe some of us can choose that going forward, putting our phones down and engaging more.
Yeah.
I challenge you all.
have a phone-free night out. It's terrifying.
Yeah. Gosh, isn't that crazy? Wow. Well, I can perceive the what in everybody's world. But don't do it. It's okay. Doesn't matter.
I knew I was only 2 blocks from my phone, so I wasn't like,
I mean, you can if you can't leave your phone at home, it's okay. Just leave it in your bag or your pocket and try that.
well, I get too that it created a sense that I was available for conversation or engagement. It wasn't, I didn't have that barrier up of I am busy on my phone. So both the person on either side of me and beyond were like engaging with
Hi.
me as
Yeah.
I was just, hi, I'm Heather.
Yeah. Yeah. I do that a lot. Just put the phone down. Everybody else is in there, but you can interrupt.
And what have you found that that's created for you when you've done that?
Well, it's fun. Otherwise, it's like, what's the point of going out?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, truly, what is the point?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can make a beautiful meal at home.
It's so true. I can have a glass of Chardonnay at home. Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope to engage more with lots of people that I don't know yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know you have another call and I've got another thing, but I'm so happy to have been able to chat.
Thank you.
It feels very nurturing. you know,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Turn the sound off and just feel the energy. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. It all started with the facelift, the light lift.
Mhm. Mhm.
Thank you so much, Julie.
Thank you. Have a beautiful week.
Thanks. You too.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.